like that! You like that!
What's going on? It's Coach Williams, and I'm back for another breakdown. So today we are going to talk Devin Witherspoon. And so he did not participate in the combine this weekend. They're saying it's because of a hamstring injury, but I'm going to put my conspiracy hat on, and I think it's because he didn't want to run. And you'll understand when you watch this video. So let's just jump right into this thing, okay? So we got him down here at the bottom of the screen here. And so Wisconsin, he's going up against Wisconsin. And these receivers at Wisconsin, there's no NFL prospects. There's no guys that are burners that have elite speed or anything like that. These are very average, very pedestrian receivers. And so on this play, they come out in 21 personnel, 2 backs, 1 tight end, and they're running play action, okay? So they run play action, shot play. And so here, he's covering this receiver, he's pedaling. But usually when you pedal, you don't want your feet like this. You want to keep your hips and shoulders square to the line of scrimmage until you're going to turn. And so the hip fluidity is nice, right? He's got very good hips, so there's no complaints about that. But there's no burst. He can't hang with this receiver. He's trying to lean on him or whatever to get his body into him, to get in phase. But he just gets run by. And so, you know, if that's just one play, if it's a one-off, you can't hold that against somebody. But watch what happens over the course of this game. All right, so now we got him at the bottom of the screen. And again, pedal, pedal, pedal. And so that play before was the first play of the game. So that's sticking in his mind. And look at what he does here, right? Remember, you saw the other one. You saw how fluid his hips were. Now he's getting into this half turn thing or whatever. But like, he's not making a decision. And this is one of the things that I always talk about with my DBs. I call it being a gunfighter, right? When you flip your hips, it's like drawing that gun. You can't do it halfway. You got to decide, am I going to turn or am I going to stay in my pedal? And if I'm turned, I got to commit. And if the receiver breaks down, that's fine. You just break down. If they catch the ball, we rally up and make the tackle. You don't want to get beat over the top. But here, he gets into that turn. He's on top of the receiver this time, but receiver swims him, gives him a move. And again, the ball doesn't go there, and the ball doesn't go in his direction a lot in this game. But to me, when you're grading film, these are him getting beat. These are reps of him getting beat right here. And the thing is with this, I don't know if you guys watched that recent interview with Devon with Shannon Sharp and how he was getting all mad or whatever about that safety that he played with in San Francisco when they were playing 2-man and he had to be in trail technique, so he had to be underneath the receiver. And the safety wasn't helping him over the top, and it looked like on film he was getting beat. Now, these are not the situation here. He's got no help over the top. There are no safeties over the top for him. But DBs don't like that, and DB coaches don't like that, right? Because when we grade the film, we want to end up on top of the receiver and in phase in a dominant position. Think about the number of times that we watch Christian Gonzalez or Joey Porter Jr. How many times were they in a dominant position on the receiver? Let's just keep watching here, okay? So this one ends up on highlight plays a lot. I've seen this one on highlights. So he's in press coverage here. They're sending pressure. And so he does this soft press, right? Doesn't get any hands on the receiver at all. Gives him a nice, easy, free release. And the receiver has all kinds of space to work with. Now, this ends up being a tipped pass, and it gets intercepted. But if we go back here, first things first, like we talked about, he's giving him a free release. And if you look at the top of the screen, this other DB is also getting smoked here. But he knows that they're sending pressure, right? So all he's got to do is make sure that this receiver has to change directions because the quarterback's not going to have a lot of time. Even though he's beat, this is a much better rep right here because of what the play call is. And here, also, this is a drop from this receiver, right? The receiver gets his hands on the ball and tips it back over this way. The last piece of this play that we want to notice here is watch this receiver coming out of his stance and tell me, does this guy look like he has any burst? There's no burst from the receiver. If you watch, his speed is constant. He never there's no acceleration. He's only got one gear. And the receivers in the NFL have a whole nother gear. If you give this kind of free release to a Tyreek Hill or a Jamar Chase, goodbye. He's going to be at the 30-yard line right now. And Joe Burrow is going to put it on him, right? So, against NFL competition, this type of a play is going to look a little bit different. All right? So now we got him up top here. Again, pedal, pedal, pedal. Again, right? He's not deciding that he wants to turn. He's in between. He's in this in-between phase. And you've got to be a gunfighter. You got to turn and run. And again, separation, right? This is the third prospect that we've looked at. You were not seeing this with Christian Gonzalez and Joey Porter Jr., especially against average receivers. All right, so one thing that we talk about a lot on this channel, can you go across the field with the receivers? Well, he's in his pedal. He takes off. And again, tons of separation. This one is partially because of the burst and the speed. But everyone knows this is a really hard thing to do. It's the hardest thing for DBs to do, to have to run across the field with receivers like crossers or like mesh routes, or a post that ends up being a big post that goes all the way across the field or whatnot. Like, these are really, really hard routes to cover. And so what you have to do is if you know you're beat like this and the guy gets a step on you, you've got to get depth, right? You've got to try to cut him off and get deeper, right? Stay over the top of the receiver. You don't want to trail this guy because you don't have any help. So there goes another one. All right. So this one, I believe, this one is a much better rep. Okay. So again, right, now we're getting this double move here, right? Double move. And this time, finally, he gets into the body of the receiver, gets in a dominant position in phase, and cuts the guy off. And then I believe this is another better rep, right? So we got something going across the field here. He does a good job of pedaling, staying nice and square, being patient, right? See how much smoother this is than the other ones where it's like half turn. I'm afraid I'm going to get beat. Oh, I got to turn and run now. No, he's just patient in his pedal. Receiver cuts. He's on top of it. He definitely has quick feet, but the straight line speed is definitely a question. So now we got him at the bottom of the screen. And again, right, press coverage here. Press coverage here. And so he's fighting across, but he doesn't stay square for long enough. And he doesn't get hands on, right? I need the feet to be more active. I need more active feet, fight harder to get across. And he never even gets a hand on him. And so this one, I don't know. I'm not in the offense's playbook, right? I'm not in their playbook. But usually with these kind of routes, if you get this level of separation, this route is not going to convert to a comeback. He's going to just keep going, but he converts it. But if he kept running, it would have been another rep of him letting a receiver get behind him. So at this point in the video, I haven't even kept count. How many times is this that we've seen a receiver get very large amounts of separation on him? Oh, this one to me was one of the worst ones, okay? So he's pedaling, and notice how he gets back on his heels. Look at his balance. You guys know me. I'm a big balance is a DB trait thing. This is not any technique that any DB coach or any DB wants to see, right? He's on his heels. He's off balance. He's stumbling. Looks like he's going to fall. And we'll just play it through one more time. Off balance. And again, beat separation, massive amounts of separation. Not good. And these receivers are pedestrian. These are not guys that are going to be playing in the league. They're going to be playing in the XFL or the CFL, if that. So, bottom of the screen here. Again, right? This time he stays square for too long, right? There's just not a consistency to, making that decision to transition. He's square for too long, tries to get hands on, and more separation is created. All right, so this is the last one. This one ended up being logged as a PBU, but we'll talk it through. He's in press coverage much better. Look at how much more patient he is at the line of scrimmage here. Nice and square. Feet are alive and active. Gets into the body of the receiver. Eyes, perfect eyes here, looking down on the hip. Turns back for the football while in phase with body contact. But this one is actually a drop, and you'll see it even better from the tight. This is a drop. This should have been a touchdown. All right, so here we go. Quarterback drops back, and we'll pause it here, okay? Receiver gets both hands on the ball, right? He doesn't have any hands on it. He's got both hands on the ball, and this receiver just drops it because the level of talent for Wisconsin at the receiver position is not very good. So this film, for me, is very concerning because when you watch the other top corners in the draft, there's no games that look like this. You get fooled, though, because of the stat line. He didn't give up a whole bunch of touchdowns. There was a tip pass that ends up being an interception. This is logged as a PBU when it's actually a drop. Like, this was a really bad game against not very good receivers. So for me, I can't put him up there as CB1 the way some other people have. So I'm not saying that he's not necessarily going to be a good player. I actually think when I've watched his film, that especially since he measures in at 5'11", 184, and that I have questions about his straight line speed. We're never going to know about it because you can't trust the pro days. Cannot trust those pro days because the clock is going to be moving a little bit faster when you're at home, right? So we're not going to know what his real speed is until he actually gets out on the football field in the NFL. So to me, he reminds me more of like a Jimmy Ward, a much better version of a Jimmy Ward kind of a player, right? I could definitely see him being some slot, like nickel, corner, safety player, making plays all over the field. The highlight plays that you watch of him are really impressive or whatever. So I think that he could make a living being near the football, right? Playing near the line of scrimmage, getting involved in that kind of stuff. But me, I do not see him as an outside corner. I think Joey Porter Jr., Christian Gonzalez, and some of the other guys that we're going to profile are better options. So that's it for this video, and you're going to want to come back for more breakdowns of these NFL draft DBs, and I'll see you in the next video. So as always, you know what it is. It's Coach Williams, Ball Hawks. We fly. I'm out. Peace.